start with Peter Obi. Now, Mr. Peter Obi says the president has spent 23 days out of 31 days in the month of January abroad, at a time when the country faces the continuing menace of kidnapping, violence, and that the president has now returned just to welcome defectors into the ruling party. I'd like you to take that along with a comment by Femi Fani-Kayode, ambassador designate, at page 15, pages 14 to 15 of the Sunday edition of This Day newspaper, where he was talking about the enemies within, and he devoted paragraphs to Peter Obi specifically as one of the enemies within, seeking to profit from criticism of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And then, of course, this whole thing about the National Assembly. Now, we had Mr. Femi Falana on this program yesterday, and he was saying that, look, the National Assembly is just wasting people's time. Because this whole idea of amending the Electoral Act is something they could sort out in 1 week or a matter of days. But you have the Senate setting up one committee after another, a plenary that failed, an executive session that yielded nothing, a 7-man ad hoc committee. Meanwhile, time is going. And the House of Reps, which had passed their own amendments earlier, are now saying they want to amend further. So, I mean, what do you think of all of this? And then what was that first subject again?
The first subject was, well, we had the Shetima, yes.
Aha,
Vice President Kefas Abu.
Bring in Governor Abu Kefas into the fold of the APC. So who is left? I think Governor Kefas will be about number 30 or number 31. So who is left? And, you know, this whole argument that you can have all the governors, as one aggrieved fellow said, do not win elections. So who is going to win the elections in 2027 in terms of the actual votes?
All right. I mean, I would want to start with the comment by Peter Obi, and I want the federal government, Mr. President, the presidency, to, take a careful look at this criticism. This was done in good faith. This is not something that was done out of bitterness. Mr. President has actually spent more time out of the country this year. I mean, like he said, Peter Obi said, every president's priority in the early part of the year will be to attend to domestic issues. So why is our own president attending to issues abroad more than at home? And then he goes and then he disappears for some days. Nigerians are actually not told where he is. And suddenly he just comes back to the country. This is a time for reflection. The presidency should actually take this criticism in good faith. Because I know that when President Tinubu, then as an opposition leader, was hitting the PDP and all of that, he was merciless. And his accomplices like Alhaji Lai Mohammed would have actually grounded this government by now if they were in the opposition. During that time, Nigerians actually listened to them. And because of that, Nigeria handed the country to them in 2015. And so if this criticism is coming from Peter Obi, he should take a listen and then see how they can adjust. Yeah, anyone can fall ill, can have challenges. And then you will see that once the president goes, they actually curate it in such a way that before the 20th or 21st day, he's already back. And why hasn't the president transmitted power officially to Vice President Kashim Shettima like, then President Buhari did to Vice President Oshibanjo? Yeah, he could actually do that and then go ahead to do other things. But I think the presidency has also replied, Peter Obi subtly. And what they are saying is that, the president's trips has brought a whole lot of investment, pointing to the $20 billion investment by Shell into Nigeria's deep offshore, investments that are coming in. And then there's another $1.5 billion by ExxonMobil. And I would have seen that the Economist was writing some things about the government, saying that the government has helped to reduce inflation from about 34% to about 15%. So at the economic front, it looks good. But take a look at some of the, agreements that were signed in Turkey, Ankara. I mean, there's no difference between that one and what Buhari has signed when, Erdogan actually visited Abuja during the second term of President Buhari. So what happened to the past agreements and why did we need to sign fresh ones? I mean, these are the questions that anyone would answer. And I think Peter Obi is playing his role as an opposition leader here. So let the presidency take that into cognizance in good faith. And then let's talk about Vice President Kashim Shettima. I mean, he will be the happiest person at the moment right now because the president and his handlers seem to be giving signals that, look, they may want to pull him off that seat, but then his region is actually delivering. So out of 6 states in the Northeast, 4 of the states are in APC now. And so I understand the call by Kashim Shettima on the governors of Bauchi and, of course, the governor of Adamawa to join the APC. But isn't the APC chewing more than it can bite? Like I keep saying, go back to what happened to MPN in the Second Republic. MPN, there's someone called Jeshurun in the Bible. I mean, for those of us who have the Christian faith, it says, Jeshurun grew fat and kicked. That is exactly what the APC is doing, if it's not careful. Take a look at what happened to MPN. MPN had almost all the parties coaxing everybody to get into it. And MPN became too big, thinking that it can never fail. And then that's how that republic collapsed, because of his huge appetite to want to have every segment of the country in the political party. If that happens, then we are not running a multi-party democracy. It is not good for the APC to have all the state governors in the party. So while it works, and I think for the Northeast region, this is an opportunity for them to rally around their own vice president, the person who has been given to Tinubu, so that Tinubu will be comfortable not to change him. But nonetheless, it's risky for all the state governors to be in APC. And all these ones that they keep saying that they are going to the center to receive more support from the federal government. That's an indictment of the APC-led federal government, because it means that unless you are in the governing party, you cannot enjoy the constitutional dividends are given to you. You can't get more projects and all of that. And I think that's not the spirit and the intent and the letters of the Constitution and the thinking of our founding fathers. Now, let's take a look at what you have said about Femi Fani-Kayode. I mean, a whole lot of Nigerians wouldn't take Femi Fani-Kayode serious because he's not in the right position to criticize Peter Obi, because he lacks the credibility. This is the same APC that Fani-Kayode had kicked against under Buhari, saying that the APC was promoting a Fulani hegemony. And with several people also calling APC a party of Janjaweed. Don't forget Olisa Metu of then PDP called the APC a party of Janjaweed militias, just like it was that, referring to that, militia group in Sudan. But where's Olisa Metu today? He's in the same APC. Where's Femi Fani-Kayode today? He's in the same APC. What does that tell you about Nigerian elites? That their criticism should not be taken seriously at times by Nigerian citizens. Now, if he wasn't given a position and he had not been coddled by the Tinubu presidency, would he have been saying this? Because I'm very sure pretty soon he would have been saying that the Fulani people, in quote, have hijacked the Tinubu government and all of that. So I would ask Nigerians to take Femi Fani-Kayode's criticism with a pinch of salt. And then going to the other issues that we have across the country. As journalists, it is our duty to call out any arm of government that doesn't serve the interests of the Nigerian people. And the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria right now is not serving the interests of the people. Because when President Tinubu sends bills to them, executive memos and all of that, they do that in one day. How come the Electoral Act that we have guarantee a free, fair, and credible election is not being given much attention to? So apart from the ADC saying this, we as journalists, we need to call the APC to order. Because we know that when this party was in opposition, they kicked against everything. They abused everyone. They ensured that the institutions of state were put under pressure to be able to deliver the sort of elections that eventually brought it to power. So why is the APC not taking the issues of example, for example, the electronic transmission of election results seriously? Because that's what Nigerians are asking for. And in conclusion, the APC, through the National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Reps, should know that the legitimacy they derive is from the Nigerian people. And once they lose that legitimacy, there's no how they will walk freely on the streets of Nigeria. So if Nigerians are yearning for free, fair, and credible election, this is where it starts from. Because INEC cannot roll out the election timetable now because they are waiting for the National Assembly. INEC is not able to roll out the election guidelines for 2027 because they are waiting. INEC is unable to function very well because they are waiting for the election budget, the approval. The 2026 appropriation bill is still before it. And that has not happened. So a lot of people will say, while the APC has made some gains in the economy like it's making us to believe, it has made some gains in stabilizing the country in some aspects. But nonetheless, the APC should be very careful so that it doesn't behave like Jeshurun, which I had made reference to, grow fat and then kick. Because if that happens, it will also be kicked by the Nigerian people.
All right. Thank you so much, Somna. I don't know if I can't call you pastor because we already have a resident pastor on the morning show, Pastor Dr. Ruben Abati. But maybe with your reference to gesture, and maybe I'll call you apostle. Apostle in the marketplace. Apostle Somna Sambo, thank you very much for your sermon this morning. We're very well received, and thanks for breaking down the issues and analyzing, dissecting the stories. We look forward to more next week, Monday, when we have another edition of Political Brief.